Welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen on a Sunday morning. You must be wondering, why is this woman always in the kitchen? Well, that's what I do. I think my love language is food. And so whenever I have to express love or concern, I use food for that. So today I am cooking an entire meal for somebody who just returned from traveling to India. And he was stuck there for a really long time. So he's coming back to New York and I'm going to make an entire meal. It will consist of a dal. It will consist of a sabzi, which in this case is going to be a cabbage stir fry. I'll also be making rice. I will be making some fried crisps or papadums or appalam, whatever it might be. I'm not sure yet. And I will be making a rasam, which is a tomato-based broth, which is also got a lot of pepper in it, and it's really nice for this cold weather. Okay, so quickly let me just show you the dal that I'm making. Dal that I'm making today is a combination of green half split dal. This is called moong chilka half split. This is chana dal or Bengal gram, and this is regular moong dal, which is just without the skin. Okay, so typically this dal is made with a half split green and a half split matpe beans or black dal and chana dal, but I like to keep my dals very light, so I usually substitute one of the heavier dals with a little quantity of a lighter dal. So this is a hack that I do all the time and it absolutely works. It makes it easy to digest and whatnot. So what I am going to use for boiling my dal is my instant pot. And into here, I've washed and rinsed the dals about 2 to 3 times. To this, I've added salt. Yes, I've added salt. I added salt, turmeric, a pinch of cayenne pepper, and some asafoetida, and water, which covers the top of the dal. I always like to use less water when I'm boiling my dal so that once it's boiled and I add the tempering, I can adjust how much liquid I want in it and adjust the consistency based on that. This is a trivet that I'm going to use because I am deploying a technique called pot in pot. And this is one of the most amazing things about cooking in an instant pot, that you can actually stack up 2 things and cook them simultaneously. The only thing you have to remember for an instant pot, if you're cooking rice, just remember that you don't have to add double the water. You only have to add 1.5 times. And I've actually kept it just a little under 1.5 times because I'm trying to steam the rice. I'm not trying to overcook it. Now, clearly, dal needs a lot more cooking temperature than the rice. So I'm not trying to ruin my rice or make it into khichdi. The rice has gone in. I've put salt. I've put a little squirt of olive oil. And now I'm going to plug in my instant pot. I will put it on a manual setting and I'll show you in 1 second. Kind of hard to do with it. Okay, so I'm gonna go into manual and I will put it in for about 12 minutes. Okay, so that's my setting that it's gonna cook at, and the rice will steam from the water in the dal, and also there is enough water in the rice itself. Okay, now I'm going to start on the cabbage dish. I will put this camera up on the stand so that you guys can see the multiple things that I will be making. I will not be able to hold the camera in my hand for the entire time. So with me while I do this. Okay. I hope you can see very clearly. This is a good view of the stovetop. Hey Nana, how are you today? Happy Sunday. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the cabbage. I always like to use my trusty old iron wok for this. I do have a lot of other pots and pans, but this just really is my favorite. I don't know why, but it is. You know what? Let me bring this closer actually, so that it'll be a better view for you guys. Isn't that better? Yes. How are you this Sunday morning? I hope it's not snowing wherever you are and roads are clear. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this off, turn this on. I will work on multiple things at the same time because we need to go really fast. I do have to go to work. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a little bit of olive oil. I've already chopped up my cabbage, as you can see. And I'm gonna bring in my seeds that I want to pop. Oh, it's a snowy weekend for Nana as well. Yeah, I mean, our roads have cleared out, so it's not quite as bad, but yes, there is a lot of snow. There was a lot of snow up until yesterday. Okay, so the oil is nice and hot. We are going to throw in some. So this friend of mine is from the south of India, from Tamil Nadu. So I'm trying to stick with some familiar southern flavors for him. I've popped in a few mustard seeds. And I'm all out of curry leaves today because last night I made a menu of puri bhaji. And in that bhaji, I used all of my curry leaves. Totally forgetting that I needed to make food today for my friend. But hey, you know what? It's all good. It's okay. A-okay. Okay, so this is happening here. I am going to wait for this to pop. Whenever you cook with mustard seeds, always give it a little bit of time to crackle. You'll see that they suddenly turn whitish, like they're not black anymore, and you can actually see them appear in the kadai. So basically it makes it visible, and you'll smell this nutty kind of aroma from it, so you know that it's ready for the next step. The next thing I'm going to add is all of my cabbage. This is about half a head of cabbage, of a large head. Probably the simplest thing that you can ever make. And he's vegetarian, so clearly eating vegetables is a big part of his daily life. Gonna give it a gentle toss. This also prevents the mustard seeds from burning. So as soon as you put in your cabbage, make sure you wash it nicely, dry it, and then cut it. I try not to wash my vegetables after cutting them because I feel like it rinses out the water-soluble nutrients. I don't know if I'm wrong or right, but that's just what I do. Okay, now to this, to add a little more textural contrast and to enhance the taste a little bit, I am going to add some frozen peas and carrots, like so. I also realized that I do not have any cilantro in the house, and I haven't stepped out yesterday because of the snow. So it is what it is. I mean, we're going to make the most of what we have, okay? And stick this back in the fridge. Okay. Give it a nice toss. We'll get to the spices in just a moment. Bear with me. In the meantime, what I will do is I will get some water boiling into this thing because I have to get prepared to make the rasam. So rasam is really nothing but a tomatoey broth, which is got aromatics like garlic, fenugreek, etc. What I'm going to do today is a shortcut version because I'm going to use a store-bought rasam powder. That's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to make a shortcut. I will use fresh tomatoes, and I will use some organic diced tomatoes for that tanginess. But the rasam powder is from the store. So this is on high heat. Time to add some spices to here. You can hear the cabbage crackling and sizzling, so you know it needs to be seasoned. Just a very light hint of coriander seed powder. You don't want to add too much coriander seed powder to some of your vegetables because sometimes they just end up being black and brown, and you don't want a dark looking vegetable You really want your vegetables to look nice and appetizing. Also, don't overcook your vegetables. Okay, so give this another gentle toss. I will go ahead and add some ginger garlic paste. I have homemade. If you have grated, if you have ginger and garlic separately, you can do that. Good morning, Faye. How are you today? Sushma ji, good morning. Welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. I am making an entire meal for my friend who is coming back from India. And we are going to be making, I just put the dal and the rice together to boil in the Instant Pot. We are doing the pot-in-pot cooking technique. So that is going on right over there in the back, over there. I mixed 3 lentils. So I have chana dal, I have green split dal, and I have moong dal. This is the cabbage sabji that I'm making, and I'm trying to do a South Indian inspired flavor profile. So I started with mustard seeds and red chilies. Now I've added the cabbage, I've added frozen carrots and peas, and in here I have the rasam going. So I'm going to do rasam from a store-bought rasam powder. This is, hold on. Okay, that's the start of it. I've already gotten it going. And one more thing that I'm going to put in my veggies is this. This is what I'm going to put. It's the Coastal Coconut Curry Blend. And I keep my stash in a bag in the fridge. This is what I'm going to put because it already has coriander seed powder, curry leaves, cinnamon, cloves, green cardamom. I'm just reading all the list of ingredients. Green cardamom, large cardamom, star anise, bay leaf. It has all of these great things already roasted and done for you. It's available on my website. You can get the bigger package or you can get the single serve. I'm going to put a dash of that in here because all these flavors need to be captured by this. If you haven't given a try to the Easy Curry Spice Blends, you should certainly consider it. It's really, really very delicious and it really saves you a lot of cooking time. As you can see, I didn't put too many spices in the cabbage, but I kid you not, if you were to taste it, you would taste all the goodness of southern dishes. You can use this spice blend to make anything, right from bisi bele bhat to poriyal to sambar to anything, okay? So it's a very versatile masala that I made. It's basically mostly for all your southern dishes. Just a quick wash of hands. Okay, now in order for the cabbage to cook and steam properly, what I am going to do is I'll take a little bit of water. It's great if you have hot water right next to you when you're cooking because it doesn't bring down the temperature of your entire dish, okay? So just a gentle toss, maybe a little more. Since I don't use a whole lot of oil, I depend greatly on the steam from the water to cook my vegetables, okay? So we will monitor this and keep an eye on it. Now is the time to cover this pan so that it can continue to cook, and we will take our attention to the rasam that we are making. I do have to make rotis as well. Okay, so for this rasam, what I am going to do is I have these tomatoes. I will add the ginger garlic. This is homemade ginger and garlic. I'm just going to add a little bit of this. Ideally, you should add only garlic, but I don't have just garlic. I have a combination. So I'm going to chop up these tomatoes. And luckily the skin is coming off very easily. They were in my fridge for a few days. Okay, so this is coming off very easily. And a lot of times it will just be smashed. It's mostly not even chopped. It's just a smashed tomato. So if you are in tomato season or you have a lot of cherry tomatoes that are sitting in your fridge, make this rasam. It's really good. If you don't have the rasam powder in your house, just start with about a half a cup of tur dal and then boil it, strain it, and use that. Okay, so this is it. This is already boiling. I am just gonna chop these very roughly, throw them in there. At this time, you should also add a lot of cilantro if you have. I'm not from the south, so by no means I'm claiming that this is authentic sambar. This is the quick version that I've been making for many years, especially if someone in the family has a cold, or if you really want a quick booster kind of a pick-me-up where you want to feel good but you're really not in the mood for a heavy soup. I've been making this rasam, and my daughter really loves it. I love it. It's a great pick-me-up. And if you have a store-bought packet, then it's kind of a little quicker. Okay, so that's gone in. The tomatoes have gone in. The ginger garlic has gone in. I'm going to try to take some comments. My camera is actually at a point where I can actually see the comments. Hey, Melanie. Welcome, welcome. I have Nina. I have Melanie. Romaji. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. I appreciate each and every one of you. To this, I'm going to add just a little bit of asafoetida. Oh, that reminds me. Let me also add some to this. You can see the cabbage is... A lot of people say you should add asafoetida to hot oil. I don't do that because I feel like the American hing, whatever, this one that we get in America, it loses its flavor if you put it in hot oil. So I don't really do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and add this store-bought rasam powder to this boiling liquid. You should really check the calibration of heat, because if the rasam powder is too spicy, then you don't want to add too much. And if you feel like it's not spicy enough, you can always add a little extra. And also, I'm not using a dal based broth, so I may need a little more than usual. If I were to use the tur dal base, then it has its own flavor, and I may not have used as much as I will be using now. Okay, so this is going to boil away. I'm going to turn up the heat. I will use some tomato broth from this organic tomato can, and I will use this. So this is really mostly just a tomato rasam. Simple and very comforting. I will give it a tempering of fenugreek and mustard seeds in just a second. So I might put this in the back and create the tempering. Just bear with me. I think growing up and even to this day, South Indian food absolutely is my favorite kind of food. I've also lived in the south of India for many years. Not for many years, but for about a few months. So I absolutely love the flavors of the south. Okay, let me see if my stove will turn on in the back or... Alright, so we will allow this to come to a boil. And then I'll shift it to the back so I can create the tempering with you guys right here. Okay. That's going to continue to boil. This is my tempering pan. Tempering is what is called a tadka or bagar. And that's the sizzle that you add. Yes, Romaji says sambar is her favorite. Romaji, one day I'm going to make sambar. And I will do it on the live. And I will show you all the tips and tricks that I learned from an auntie that used to live in my neighborhood in Tamil Nadu when I lived there. And I'll share the secrets of how she made it. It turns out really, really good. So just a little bit of oil. You could use coconut oil for your sambar or for your rasam. It's really, really a good idea to do that. And the things that I am going to add into this tempering are going to be dry red chilies. You could do Szechuan chilies. Melanie says sambar, rasam is her favorite. Yeah, I think rasam is just such a comforting drink, right? And also we have Fairly. So Fairly, welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. If you are following this page, I appreciate you. If you can share this video, I'd appreciate it a little more. And if you haven't gone to my website and downloaded the free chana masala recipe, please do so. You're going to love it. I'm going to add some mustard seeds to this tempering. Like I said, I don't have any curry leaves at home anymore. So I'm all out. And I'm going to add some cumin seeds. So cumin is jeera. It looks like this. Okay, you can see this is still boiling away. I would have loved to add some curry leaves and cilantro, but I'm going to have to go downstairs to the store to get that. I will check for salt in this. Yeah, it needs salt for sure. Ah, it's spicy. In Tamil they say romba karam. Karam means spicy. And I do have to add tamarind. So this is my tempering. In goes the tempering. You see the sizzle that it creates? Basically that's what you're going for. I'm going to allow this to sizzle. I will wash this tadka pan and we will make the tempering for the dal that we have just boiled. Wipe it down. Hello Sharmishta, how are you today? Welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. We are making an entire meal for a friend of mine who is just returning after travel from India, and he was stuck there pretty badly. So this is a tomato rasam that I'm making from store-bought rasam powder. I don't always have time to do things from scratch. This is a cabbage stir fry that we're making with mustard seeds and dry red chilies. And our signature coconut curry spice blend available on my website. It literally cuts down on a lot of your cooking time and saves you a lot of time in the kitchen. Those are done for you, roasted and ground spices that are artisanal. So if you place an order on the website, it could take some time for you to get it. Just bear with us because it's produced in batches and we're not always in production. So we do product drops and that's when it ships. Okay, so this is coming along really well. I am going to add just a little more water to create a little more steam. I think this is the best way to cook it because it gives a lot of flavor to your food and it doesn't get destroyed in the frying with the oil. Okay, so that's that. I am going to get another ladle so I can taste the rasam and see what it's all about. Okay. It's a struggle out here, man, to get things out of the dishwasher. Okay, so this is how thin it needs to be. I do have to add some tamarind paste to this, which I don't think I may have the other one, which is from the store. So before you serve your rasam, make sure you load it up with a lot of cilantro. Again, I don't have it yet. I'm going to have to go and get it from the store downstairs. And I will be adding lemon juice to this. I already tempered it. So that's that. I will create the tempering for the lentils. Like I said, the lentils are boiling in the Instant Pot. Where I don't think you can see it. It's right over there. There's an Instant Pot where I'm doing the pot and pot method. So dal is at the bottom and rice is on top on a trivet in another in another vessel, and both are being steamed at the same time. So that's pretty much how it's going on over here. I am going to bring in the lemon juice. I have lime, no lemon, so that's going to go in for that sour kick. Get your vitamin C. And I will add just a little bit of jaggery or gur. I don't have the tamarind juice, so I'm going to add a combination of lemon and I will add a little piece of gur. Jaggery is the unprocessed sugar. So this is basically clumped and crystallized sugarcane juice. For those of you who are not from India, this is what it looks like. It literally looks like the rock candy thing that you get that you put in Chinese food, but this is made with sugarcane juice. So I'm going to put that in to balance out all of the flavors. And that's that. If you like it spicy, you can add green chilies, you can add crushed red peppers, you can add a lot of black pepper if that's your preference. Black pepper tastes really good in rasam, so I will be doing that just before I'm ready to serve. I can add a little bit now. So if I can make all these dishes on a live video, I'm sure you can feel motivated to cook something different for your family. Sometimes about 20 to 30 minutes of time and 4 burners at your disposal, an oven at your disposal, and an Instant Pot can really give you enough time and resources to make an entire meal that can last you a couple of days. You can make 3 or 4 items together. Maybe one day you're eating roti and the cabbage, the next day you're eating the rasam and the rice and curd, homemade yogurt with some pickle. Third thing you might eat is the dal and the rice, or you may decide to serve everything together, right? So that's possible. So the cabbage is coming along really well. You'll see that it's not going to be stiff anymore, and it's going to start folding and bending. So that's when you know that it's steamed enough. Like these bigger ones that I've cut, they're becoming more pliable. You see how it's bending over the ladle? So when you're trying to just barely steam your vegetables and not overcook them, that's a good indication that they become a little pliable, but they don't become mush. Okay, so the heat is medium to low. Okay, what I am going to do is I will push this to the back so that I can show you how I fry the crisps for this meal. This is my pot with oil. I turn on the back burner so the thing can continue to steam. The rasam I'm going to turn down to an all-time low. Okay, this is olive oil. I'm using light olive oil because that's what I use for all my frying and grilling stuff. I will make 2 different kinds of crisps. I'm making a southern Indian chip which is called appalam, and they literally look like this. I will also be making a North Indian popper, which is a Jeera Popper, which looks like this. So these are little discs. I'm going to fry both and I will show them to you. Maybe I'll fry 3 or 4. Maybe 2 is fine. Okay. All right. Let me get my spider so that I will be able to take them out. Everybody with me so far? Anything that's your favorite, anything that you'd like to make in your kitchen, let me know in the comments below. This video may be a little bit long, but hang in there. It's always fun when someone else is cooking. So if it's bringing you some kind of entertainment, I'm happy about that. Okay, so the cabbage is continuing to steam. While the oil is getting hot, let me just quickly chop the onions and the tomatoes for my dal tadka. This is a huge ass onion that I have. Let me just peel it and come right back to you. Keep an eye on the food, you guys. Don't let anything burn, okay? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Alrighty. Very motivating. Oh, I'm making you hungry, then come on over. When it's ready to be served, you should be here ready to eat. Right, Melanie? That's the whole fun. It's like eating with your friends and they're cooking for you. That's why I bring you in my kitchen, so y'all can see that even though I'm alone pretty much the whole time, I'm always cooking. So cooking is my escape. It's my therapy. I don't know what it is, but it really does something for me. It engages all my senses. Okay, so I'm going to push the rasam back. It's pretty much done. This is my spider to catch all my fried goods out of the oil. I'm just going to rest it there for a minute. And I'm going to chop the onions. I'll bring this in here. Now for dal, you need to chop the onions finely, but you don't need to caramelize onions, okay? It's very different making a curry compared to making a dal. When you make a dal, you want the onions to be finely chopped, but you don't want to caramelize them. You only want to make them translucent so that there will be a textural feel to the dal when you bite into it. Alrighty, okay. There goes it. Easy peasy. Maybe I should get a bigger pan so that y'all can see better. Hold on. Okay. How about that? Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna get this tempering started, and then I'm gonna start frying my stuff so that this can happen while I don't have to be distracted. So some oil. You can create your tempering with ghee or coconut oil. Ghee is considered to be the best thing, but then lately I hear that you shouldn't cook ghee to a high temperature, so there's a lot of conflicting information out there. The easiest kind of tempering that you can make for your dal is some cumin seeds, which I absolutely love, by the way. Sushmaji is saying, I'm eating with my eyes. Hello, Ron. Oh my God, where you been? I have been totally enjoying all the maple syrup that you sent me from Canada. I'm down to my second bottle and it's about to be finished because I've been putting it in all my Asian dishes instead of the honey, and oh my God, it's so good. Thank you, Ron, for doing that. Okay, so the oil is nice and hot. The way you can test it, you can actually put one tiny chip and see what happens. If it's taking that long to come to the top, that means your oil is not hot yet, okay? So we need to give it a little more time. In the meantime, the cumin seeds are going to be popping. So the success of being a good home chef really lies in multitasking and keeping an eye on everything, right? And I think it's been my years of training in my home kitchen with my mother-in-law or cooking for such a large family that now when I cook in my restaurant, I'm able to manage 4 or 5 big pots of food at the same time. Okay, so in goes the crushed red chili. And you know, I don't use any heat in my food. In go the onions. Mind you, the cabbage is still steaming. I'm going to show you a quick sneak peek into what it looks like before we move on to the next thing. Give it a gentle stir. Just break up whatever onions are sticking to each other. If you feel lazy and you don't want to do the onion tempering, you can just do this with tomatoes and garlic, and it tastes exceptionally really, really good. So don't worry about doing it exactly the same way. Make it your own. Tempering can just be ghee and cumin seeds. It doesn't even have to be anything complicated, okay? So don't badger yourself over it. If you have the time, you can build in more layers of flavor. If you want to keep it really, 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 really simple, then just do a tomato and garlic tadka or tempering, or just do a cumin seed and ghee tempering, or do a curry leaf and coconut oil tempering. There's just so many ways to do this. I mean, I feel like I could do an entire book on just tempering. By the way, there's a lot of new ebooks that are up on the website, which includes street foods of India. It includes the breads of India, rice dishes from India, and of course there is the omnivorous dish which is called the Spice of Life, and our very popular the Vegan Indian Home, which has 10 classic dishes that are made every day in my home. All of the pictures that you see in our books are actually real food that real people eat. Hello Feroz, happy Sunday to you. Real food that real people eat. I also have a book called Restaurant Curry Secrets, and that's exactly how food is made in the restaurant. So you will learn all the basic curries, how we make them, and then how they are used in dishes. So with every curry, there is a dish that is showcased in the book. Okay? Let me know what is your favorite thing to eat from your mother's kitchen. Any childhood memory of anything that was homemade that you absolutely loved growing up. I'd love to hear, so drop it in the comments below. It doesn't have to be an Indian dish. It could be anything that you grew up eating and you love to make it in your home kitchen now. So this is a sneak peek into the cabbage. You can see it's really well cooked. Nothing is sticking to each other. It's well steamed. It's not overcooked because you see it's still holding up the texture. It's really, really beautiful. The aroma is great. It doesn't smell raw at all. I've turned it off. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick saute. You don't want to burn the ginger and garlic. I'm going to turn this down a little bit because I do need the time to chop some tomatoes. I may put in just half a tomato and do the rest from the organic tomato can. Okay, so let me do half a fresh tomato and the rest of it will come from the organic tomatoes in the can. Just a coarse chop, nothing fancy. And you can see the onions are translucent. They are not brown. We're not trying to make a curry. We are not trying to caramelize them. Melanie says a good dish for her was the green beans curry. Oh my God, yes, I love green beans. That's really a good dish. Do you make it a lot in your home, Melanie? Okay, this is the tomatoes that have gone in. Just make sure you're not caramelizing the onions. You don't want your dal to be brown like a curry. The dal should taste like dal, and these bits and bites of the onions and the tomatoes should add to and enhance the flavor. Okay, so I'm gonna add some diced tomatoes from this can. I have about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of dal that I'm boiling, and it's a pot and pot technique. So the rice is cooking on top and the dal is at the bottom. Even if you don't have an Instapot and you have a pressure cooker, definitely use it. Now when you're adding tomatoes to any dish, I am going to give you the pro tip of the day, which is when you add tomatoes to your dish, immediately add salt. When you do that, it helps to draw out all the moisture from the tomatoes and break them down. I'm also going to go ahead and add some turmeric at this point, a little coriander seed powder, and I will cook this down for a few seconds. If you're going to add green chilies, you can add it now. You can add it at any point during your cooking process. Okay, now we have to let this come together. You'll see all the moisture from the tomato starts to come out. Increase the heat to medium-high. Give it a stir and then let it do its thing. We will keep an eye on it. I'm going to jump back to frying these chips. So I don't know if you all are following me with the back and forth among so many things, but this is how in real life a home kitchen works. Okay, so you saw that it definitely popped up. So I've turned up the heat so that it can get a few more seconds. And let me get a plate ready so I can put all the crisps in that. Okay. All right, so let's do the tiny ones first. This is the cumin popper, which is made from rice flour. You see how the water is getting drawn out from the tomatoes? At this time, you can go back and mash it with the back of your spoon. Melanie says, definitely just grew some lately, brought back so many memories. Oh my God, yes. There's nothing more comforting than eating something that was your childhood favorite. Okay, so for these, you get these in the store and you will only add 4 or 5 at a time because they really puff up very quickly and you don't want them to get out of control. So as soon as that happens, you're going to dig in and lift them all up, lift it out of the oil. And just put as many as you can manage. Don't put too many because you don't want it to become unmanageable. Take them, shake them out, and add them to a paper towel lined plate. Round 2. Again, I'm going to add about 5 or 6 of these, not too much. And they immediately puff up. So these are actually made with rice flour and then they're sun dried. So the rice flour is actually made into a batter with salt and cumin seeds, and then it's steamed. And then those steamed little thin wafers are actually sun dried. Then when they're sun dried, they become crisp, and then they're packaged and sold. So when you fry them, they kind of get reinstated. If you don't have these, but you have the rice paper wraps from the Vietnamese or the Asian grocery store, you can even try it. I mean, sometimes when I don't have this, I just use that. It's a finer texture, but it's still really, really good. Hello, Black BLK Magic Wilkerson. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. We are making an entire meal for a friend of mine who is traveling back from India. And we have already made a cabbage stir fry. We are working on the tempering for the dal. Okay, my lovelies, these are the crisps that we just made. These are the crisps that we just made. Okay, and you can see they're nice and crunchy. Yes, you heard me chew it. I will also do it on camera. Now we're going to fry the appalum, which is actually made with lentil flour, lentil dough. Okay. Hello, Nalini. This is made with lentil dough, not with rice flour. So there are many different kinds of papadums that happen in India depending on the region and the season. It's really nice to explore that section of your Indian supermarket if you live by one. If you can't find these, you can always text me. I can just ship them to you. I don't have them on my website, but If you gotta try them, I'll be happy to ship them to you. I'm gonna make 2 of these. And you see, it happens really, really quickly. Also, my most recent discovery was that I used to use woks and kadais to fry my poppers, okay? And that used to send a splatter all over my stovetop, which used to really annoy the crap out of me because I hate cleaning. So then what I started to do, I started to use this deep pan. Okay, let me just bring your attention to this tempering. You can see it's sticking to the bottom of the pan, and you'll see the aroma like it's caramelizing. It's really sticking to the bottom. Just pat it down with your spoon, with the back of your spatula. Add tons of cilantro at this point. Okay, so another pro tip of the day would be, if you're frying something, use a pan or a pot that is deep enough so that you don't get splatters. So I plan to use this even to make pakoras and things like that, okay, which is kind of unconventional, but I plan to do that. Now, because the tempering is already sizzling and there is no more moisture left in the tomatoes, what I will do is I will add quite a bit of water, only because I know that when I boiled my dal, I didn't make it as liquid as I finally want it to be. But before I add the water, I'm going to just add a little bit to cool down the pan a little bit so that it doesn't splash all over my face. And then turn the heat down to low. You can see the tomatoes are really broken down, right? Tomatoes have broken down. Now what you're going to do is, I think it's time for another pro tip of the. I am dropping some nuggets over here, guys. Like, you are not missing anything. This is a good place to be. I'm gonna put this away. Okay, so when you are working with dal or lentils or any kind of curry and you're giving a final tempering, always remember, don't add paprika to the hot oil. Okay, we added the cilantro, we added the coriander seed powder, we added the turmeric on top of the moisture that was coming out of the tomatoes. So don't add it to your pan because it's going to burn the spices and not give it enough time to cook. But the moisture in the tomatoes has helped to infuse this curry, the tempering, with those spices. Now is the time to add a little bit of paprika, and this tip revolves around paprika. Whenever you use paprika, I don't use cayenne pepper in my food because I just don't like heat. But if you use paprika, hello Deborah, hello Feroza, this is paprika, okay? As soon as you add paprika, add it to the top mound of whatever tempering you're creating. Don't add it to the hot pan. And immediately add water on top. That's it. That's going to prevent the color of the paprika from changing or burning. And it's going to make your tempering nice and vibrantly red, while also infusing the flavor of paprika. So I think paprika is really more for color. There isn't that much flavor. But you cannot do the same thing with cayenne pepper. It has a completely different character and properties. However, when you add a little bit of liquid after adding your spices, it gives your spices enough time to cook and bloom. Don't add spices directly to hot oil unless they are whole spices. So if you're adding cloves or cinnamon or bay leaf, you can add those to hot oil. But if you're adding any kind of powdered spices, please do not add them to hot oil. They just burn and taste like crap. You'll see in a lot of online like food demonstration videos, you'll see them adding there's hardly any oil in the pan, like in a Dutch oven or something, and they keep on adding curry powder and they keep on adding coriander powder and garam masala. Number one, garam masala does not go on everything. So please, just because it's an Indian allspice doesn't mean it should be in every Indian dish. Okay, now that this is going to bubble up, I will actually dry out entirely the moisture that is coming from these tomatoes, and then I will add the total quantity of water that I need to have in my dal. I set it to 12 minutes and it's already up. The time is up, but it still needs to release the steam. So I'm going to do a natural pressure release on my Instant Pot. Once I do that, I will take a potato masher and mash down the grains of dal. I will separate the rice because I cooked it pot and pot. Okay, now at this time the heat is on high. I'm going to go ahead and add this water, which is going to cook and take on all the flavor from the cumin, from the coriander seed powder, from the onions, from the ginger, from the garlic. And this is what I will use in my lentils. So once I remove the lentils from the Instant Pot, this is what I'm going to use. I just have to give it a few minutes so that it can bubble up. Okay, and it can really develop those flavors. So in the time that it took us to make this video, we have actually made a homemade rasam from store-bought rasam powder without using dal. We have also made a cabbage stir-fry sabzi. We have made a tempering for our dal. The dal and the rice are already in the instant pot, in the instant pot being boiled. And the only thing, and we have also made these crisps that we made. Why can't I see anybody? Okay, so we've made these crisps and they taste absolutely delicious. Look at that. So good. I've tried to microwave them, but it's not quite the same. Okay, I could eat this by the bag full. I shouldn't, but I could. That's done. I'm going to sprinkle generous amounts of cilantro on this. I do have to make some rotis. Other than that, this is an entire meal that's going to go to my friend. I have to get it to him before 4:30 New York time. So I'll be able to do that. This was just an exercise to encourage you to cook more homemade food. Make simpler things. And I don't have too many things in my pantry today or too many things in my fridge because of the snow. I didn't really get a chance to stock up anything. I'm just working from whatever I had, and tomatoes, potatoes, these are all basic things that we have. Also in my freezer I had the carrots and the peas, so I've used that. Whatever you've got, make the most of it. Don't think you have to have every exotic ingredient to make a good plate of food. No, you don't, which is why I try to encourage you to make home style meals, to eat at home, to make food with your own hands. It's an act of self-love, and also when you put your loving energy into the food, that's what your family is also tasting. Okay, so please stay motivated. I know it's hard to be stuck at home, not be able to go anywhere. Everybody wants food all the time because everybody's working from home. Whatever the case may be, keep it simple. It doesn't have to be boring. Today we did a South Indian inspired menu. A couple of days ago we did an Asian inspired menu. So we're always switching things up, which is why you should follow this page if you haven't already done so. We are now up to 5,000 members. Yay! And it's all been because of your love and support. Like always, if you live in New York and you know anybody's family that is suffering from COVID or suffering any kind of financial loss where they have not been able to eat well, please share my information with them. Tell them to send me a text message or a DM so that I can bring them free home style food on Tuesday. I will supply an entire week of food for the family that has COVID. This is applicable in New York City and in Queens. Those are our delivery areas. If you want to come and pick it up for a family or a neighbor that you know, then you're welcome to do that from Midtown Manhattan. All the people that go on my website and buy a book, buy a chai masala, if you've bought a class from me and taken an online class, anything or in any way that you have supported my page or my brand, I appreciate each and every one of you, because it is only from your dollars that I'm able to do this kind of free service for people in our communities that need this extra help. So if you know somebody that is financially struggling or is under COVID and they could really use a home style meal which is plant-based and healthy and made with love, please share my information with them. I would greatly appreciate it. For each and every one of you that supports me and spends their dollars with me, I really, really feel very answerable and accountable in the way I spend it, and giving back to the community is really one of the cornerstones of what my brand is really about. I've had COVID when it first came, and so I know how terrible it is and how helpless one feels when you cannot get out of bed, and you also have to think about feeding yourself, because that's the only thing that's going to get you back on your feet. So please share my information with anybody in New York City or in Queens that you know who could use free food. Also, we give out free samples on Tuesday. If you're in Midtown, definitely stop by. Let me know that you'll be stopping by. I will have a bag full of food with your name on it, so you can give it a try. The weekly menu for Tuesday is already out on our Instagram page and also on our Shopify page. You could go ahead and click the link in my bio, or you could hit the Facebook button for the website and the shop, and you can actually shop from there. Okay, so with that being said, thank you so much for joining me on this live. Be blissful and flavorful. I will see you real soon, perhaps tomorrow in another live. We will be always making something. I will put pictures of all the completed dishes on the Facebook page, so you'll actually see how everything comes together in a plate and how it's served. Thank you so much for joining me. Be safe out there, stay warm, stay cozy, and remember, you're never too far away from a delicious home-cooked meal. Bye now and take good care.